What if I told you that Ferrari has discovered something in China that could explain why Mercedes seems to have infinite energy on the straight, while the rest just shuts down? Because we're not talking about a simple engine upgrade, we're talking about a system that recharges, manages, and deploys energy in such a perfect way that it has left all the teams completely shocked. Ferrari arrived in China with a concern that went far beyond results. It wasn't just a question of pace or setup, it was an uncomfortable feeling, almost impossible to ignore. Mercedes had something different. Something that did not fit with what was expected of the normal performance of a car under these regulations. After Australia, Maranello took the problem as a critical mission. For days, engineers analyzed every available piece of data, breaking down the telemetry lap by lap, and comparing each phase of straight-line acceleration. They were not looking for a specific improvement, they were looking for an explanation for a pattern that was beginning to repeat itself too consistently. And in China, all the pieces fell into place. What Ferrari reveals is that Mercedes' advantage does not come solely from the thermal engine, but from something much more sophisticated, the management of the hybrid system. Specifically, how they recharge and deploy electrical energy through the ERS, controlled by software that appears to be one step ahead of the rest. The Shanghai circuit was the perfect setting to discover it. Its long straights and strong braking, especially in areas like T6 or T14, turned the track into a kind of natural laboratory to analyze energy recovery. And it was there that Ferrari detected the anomaly. While other teams, including Ferrari, recharge energy during braking but fail to maintain a constant delivery throughout the straight, Mercedes has achieved something radically different, sustaining the electric power practically until the end. There is no sudden drop. There is no moment when the car stops pushing. Ferrari, on the other hand, suffers from the well-known clipping. That is, there comes a point on the straight where the energy is exhausted and the car loses thrust, which translates into lower top speed, and even more importantly, lower speed at the end of the section. And here's the key to it all. It's not just a difference in top speed, it's a difference in how that speed is built along the entire straightaway. The data made it clear. Mercedes not only reaches higher peaks, but also maintains that speed better and loses less at the end. And the most shocking thing is that this pattern is repeated round after round without variations. That rules out any random factors and points directly to a system optimized to the limit. But there is an even more revealing detail. Ferrari discovered that when they use the boost, that key extra power to overtake or defend the system penalizes the rest of a lap. That is, they win at that moment, but they pay later. Mercedes, on the other hand, has managed to integrate this use into its energy map without breaking the overall balance of the car. This means they can attack, defend, and maintain pace without compromising overall performance. And this is where the great concern arises. Because what Ferrari has discovered is not simply a technical improvement, it is a completely different way of understanding energy management in today's Formula One. What Ferrari has uncovered did not remain a simple technical analysis. It quickly became an issue that began to cause discomfort within the paddock. Because when a team understands that the difference is not mechanical, but structural in energy management, the conversation changes completely. And this is where the real impact of what they saw in China comes in. Mercedes has not only optimized its system, it has redefined how it is used within the limits of the regulation. In a context where today's Formula One increasingly depends on a 50-50 balance between thermal and electrical power, mastering recharging and energy deployment is, literally, mastering the performance of the car. Ferrari understands this perfectly. Therefore, their concern is not only losing speed on the straight, is that Mercedes has found a way to turn each braking into a cumulative advantage. While other devices recharge and then spend that energy less efficiently, the W17 transforms each cycle into an almost perfect process where nothing is wasted. This has enormous consequences. First, in classification. A car capable of maintaining electric delivery until the end of each straight can squeeze the most out of each attempt without that critical moment where performance drops. That explains why Mercedes can make constant differences when everything is decided by thousands. Second, in the race. This is where the effect is even more devastating. Because we're not talking about one lap, we're talking about full stints. A car that does not suffer aggressive clipping can better manage its resources, defend its position without degrading its performance, and attack at key moments without paying the price later. Ferrari described it indirectly, but the feeling is clear. The Mercedes is a car that does not run out. And this begins to raise an uncomfortable question within the paddock. To what extent is this advantage completely legal? because the more the behavior of the system is analyzed, the more doubts arise about possible gray areas of the regulation. There is talk of extremely sophisticated energy maps, almost non-existent super clipping management, and even possible extreme interpretations in the way energy is stored or released within the hybrid system. Ferrari, evidently, does not accuse directly, but it has done something much more important. It has put the focus. And when Ferrari points out something in Formula One, the rest listen. Some teams are already starting to look at their own data more closely. Others directly consider whether it is necessary to take the issue to the FIA for a more in-depth review. Because if Mercedes has found a legal loophole, the rest need to know about it, and fast. But there is a problem. Even if everything is completely legal, replicating it is not immediate. Because this is not a piece you can copy. It is not a spoiler or a visible update. It's software, it's integration, it's deep understanding of the hybrid system. It's something that requires time, development, and perfect synchronization between multiple areas of the car. Because once Ferrari understands exactly where the difference is, the story stops being technical and becomes a direct battle for control of the championship. It is no longer just about improving the car, but about deciding how to respond to something that, right now, redefines the balance of power in Formula One. Ferrari knows that the problem is not minor. It is not an update that will arrive at the next race, nor a setting adjustment that can be tested in a weekend. What Mercedes has built is a deeply integrated system, where the software, energy management, and car behavior work as a single unit. And that means one thing: there are no quick fixes. In Maranello, they have two paths, and both are risky. The first is the technical path. Try to replicate what Mercedes does. Thoroughly understand how they achieve this constant delivery of energy, how they avoid clipping, how they integrate the use of boost without penalizing the rest of the lap. But this path requires time, and in Formula One, time is the only thing you don't have when you're losing. The second path is the political one, because when advantage is so big, so constant, and so difficult to explain from the outside, pressure inevitably appears on the FIA. Ferrari has already put the focus, has exposed the behavior, and now the ball is in the court of the rest of the teams and the federation itself. And this is where the tension starts to grow. If the FIA decides to investigate further, we could be facing a turning point in the season. A technical directive, a regulatory clarification, any small change could completely alter Mercedes' advantage. But if everything remains within the law, then the scenario is even more disturbing, because it would mean that Mercedes hasn't found a trick, it has found the key. The key to how to maximize this hybrid regulation. The key to how to turn every braking into performance, every straight into an advantage, every turn into perfect execution. And that leaves a very clear image for the future. But there is an even deeper point in all this, one that Ferrari is beginning to understand, and that could mark a before and after in Formula One. Because this is not just about China. It's not just about Shanghai or a circuit that favors energy recharging. What Ferrari has discovered is that Mercedes does not depend on a specific layout to exploit its advantage. It depends on a concept that can be transferred to any circuit on the calendar. And that is what is truly dangerous. Because if this system works on tracks with long straights like China, but also adapts to more technical circuits, then Mercedes does not have a specific strength. It has a dominant base. A foundation that can scale, evolve, and continue to widen the gap with each passing race. Ferrari is starting to see the bigger picture. It's no longer just about losing a few tenths on a straight line. It's about how that energy efficiency affects everything else. Better tire management, greater ability to defend position without degrading the pace, more strategic margin. Everything begins to connect. It's a domino effect. Because when a car doesn't suffer energetically, the driver doesn't need to push as hard either. And when you don't force yourself, you take care of tires. And when you take care of your tires, you can lengthen stints, attack at key moments, and control the race from an advantageous position. Everything comes from the same point, energy. Ferrari, on the other hand, is on the opposite side. Every use of the system involves a commitment. Each attack has a cost. Each defense leaves a mark on subsequent performance. And that, in such an even season, becomes a structural weakness. And here an uncomfortable reality appears. Even if Ferrari manages to get closer, Mercedes will continue to evolve, because understanding the problem first gives you an advantage in development. And Mercedes has not only understood it before, it has applied it better. This forces Ferrari to rethink everything, not just the current car, but the development philosophy, the way they interpret the regulations, the way they integrate software with hardware. Because what is at stake is no longer a race, is being left behind in a new technological era within Formula One. Ferrari and the rest of the teams are not only chasing Mercedes, they are trying to achieve a concept that, right now, seems a step ahead of the entire grid. And the big question is no longer what Mercedes has done. What Ferrari has revealed after the Chinese Grand Prix is not simply a performance difference, it is a clear warning of where modern Formula One is moving. Because in an era where the balance between electric and thermal defines success, Mercedes has shown that the true battlefield is no longer just on the track, but in software and intelligent energy management. They have achieved something that the rest still do not fully understand. A system that not only recharges better, but knows exactly when and how to deliver that energy without wasting absolutely anything. A car that does not suffer, that does not get exhausted, that does not have that weak point that all the others do show at the end of each straight. Ferrari has done the most important thing: identify the problem. You have put the focus in the right place. But at this point in the story, that's not enough. Because now the real race begins. A race against time to try to replicate something that is not visible, that cannot be easily copied, and that could define not only this season, but the immediate future of the hybrid regulations. And meanwhile, Mercedes continues to move forward, with an advantage that is not only measured in speed. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.